There are now riots, BLM riots, in Lancaster, Pennsylvania because of the police shooting of a man named Ricardo Munoz, who was charging at the police brandishing a knife. Now, whatever you think of the earlier cases, the case of George Floyd, the case of Blake, this one is actually substantively different and much more clear-cut. In the case of George Floyd, he was an unarmed man. Yes, he had a record of home invasion. Yes, his body was perhaps filled with drugs. But one can argue about whether the police used disproportionate force, nevertheless. In the case of Blake, he dived into his car to get something. He did have in his possession, somewhere in the car, a knife, but he didn't have the knife on him. Here you have a man armed and sprinting toward the cops with the knife in full threatening display. Now, I suppose one could say the police didn't have to shoot him, they could have turned and run away. But let's remember that the rules as they apply to police are not the same as the rules as they apply to ordinary citizens. We are not supposed to seek out trouble. In that sense, we can only use force in self-defense. But the police are in a different situation. Their job is to go out there, locate the bad guys, stop them, arrest them. And so the police operate under different rules of engagement. Here, the police had every reason to feel threatened. In fact, if you can't use force in this situation, when can you? Now, I know some people are saying that, well, this guy Munoz was autistic, perhaps schizophrenic. Well, I don't know, but what I do know is that the police don't know that. They don't know the medical condition of the guy who's charging at them. They have to make decisions on the spur of the moment, apprehending the danger that is right in front of them. Would a social worker do better? What would a social worker really do? Would you start trying to converse with the charging man? Would you try to escape? Let me turn around and get away. I get stabbed. And I go, wow, why did I show up for this appointment in flip-flops? I should have invested in some really good running shoes. I'm really not sure that a social worker could do much, if anything, in this situation. The police are what stand between us and the criminals. In that sense, they are our line of defense. And if we disarm and defund and get rid of the cops, what's going to happen? Pure anarchy? Will the criminals take over? Are we inviting vigilante mobs to take the place of the police? What rules of engagement will they operate by? This is a very dangerous situation, and it's politically dangerous, I think, for Biden, because whatever position he took on the earlier cases, this, I think, is the line in the sand. And if he doesn't speak out, it might very well be goodbye, Pennsylvania.